When you joined Rick and Morty, I'm guessing you weren't like ready. Like, am I wrong in thinking like that's just like a cult phenomenon at this point, and like the fans are very passionate and have very passionate opinions about what should be happening to those characters?
Yes.
Were you prepared for that? Have you had any like weird interactions as a result of that?
No. Well, it's funny. Well, the only time I've been, I was at a hotel once, just me, and I like got to the hotel, and as they were checking me in, the guy behind the counter was like, or no, it wasn't even behind the counter. I think it was when he was like walked me to my room, and then as I was like handing him a tip or something, he was like, "Are you the Alex Rubens who works on Rick and Morty?" And I was like, I kind of didn't like it, actually. I was like, because I kind of prize the anonymity that comes with like being a writer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in Hollywood, relatively less so, but still like, you know.
Oh yeah.
So there's something about that was like,
jarring.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. But no, I haven't had, because I'm relatively under the radar, you know. I mean, like I don't like people. I don't know. Sometimes I'll see online. I don't like to look online about what people say about. They'll be like, he's written 2 of the worst Rick and Morty episodes ever, and I'm like, all right, you know.
Do they say that about you?
I mean, they also say positive things, but I think I did see that comment once. Yeah.
What a bummer one to stumble on.
Yeah. But that's the thing. But one of the things
that was one guy. That guy doesn't know.
No, there was like a whole Reddit subreddit about me. No. But I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, but that's the thing, is that it's like that's part of the reason that the anonymity is useful, and also it's like, you know, I have Rick and Morty's been funny because this is especially true with Dan Harmon shows, and there's some writers on the show. On my show who have had this experience, but like I've written 4 episodes of Rick and Morty, one in season 2, which was a little bit before everything blew up, you know, and then came back for seasons, I think it was 6 and 7, and by the time they were airing, I like wasn't even working on the show anymore, I think, but but like of the 4, 2 of them are very much like, I feel like they're written by me, you know, I mean, but they're written by everybody and by Dan and but like 2 of them, like what you're watching is stuff I wrote, you know, or versions of stuff I wrote. And then the third one, the first half of it is that, and the second half of it is like completely, because I had already left by the time they were like fixing the episode, and they were like, we're re-breaking the story. And then so after the act break, it still says written by Alex Rubens, but it like wasn't literally none of it. And then the 4th episode I wrote, I don't think any of it I wrote, and you know, the story changed a lot. It sort of starts somewhat similarly, and then the story changed enormously. I've only seen it once, but when I watched it, I was like, all right, it finally happened to me. Like, and I've seen it happen to people, but it didn't happen to me.
You got rewritten,
but it's like, but like completely. Like it's not. I'm like I bear no credit. I deserve no credit nor blame for anything about this episode.
Yeah.
Well, blame in that I didn't make it good enough to to stay exactly the way it was when I wrote it. But
is that writer's room just like so? That show got so like meta at some point that I feel like that writer room, you probably are like locked in there, and you guys are like. You ever seen the movie The Lighthouse?
Oh yeah,
with William Dafoe and Robert. That's kind of what I picture that, right?
Well, season 2 was like, a little bit like that. Okay. I mean, well, in season 2 we were in person, and I think they are in person again. But when I was working on it, it was all Zoom. And it's also weird because like I feel like right when it was blowing up, the writers' room was in the most chaos from what I could tell. Like when I left, two of my friends were still working on it, and like by the time I came back, so I was not involved in, but heard a lot about season 3, which is an amazing season. I was friends with Ryan Ridley and Dan Guterman, who were very, you know, very like, I don't know. I feel it, the impression I got, although I got it from them, so I don't know, was that they were sort of, you know, kind of doing some show running essentially in season 3. And then they both left after season 3, and I didn't know anybody who was working on it in season 4. I mean, I knew some people who had, and then, but also I think there was like a big turnover in season 4. I think partway through season 4 it changed. I think Scott Martyr, who took over as showrunner in season 5, if I'm not mistaken, I think he kind of had to run some of season 4 and like retroactively too. So by the time I came in, a lot had changed. Like the whole, there was like I don't think any, well, as has been made public, you know, Justin Roiland, even when I was working there in season 2, Justin Roiland was like barely involved in the writing anyway. I mean, he was very involved in like voice direction, and he had a bunch of ideas and was He's hilarious. But he was not like writing the show. And then I think that became even more true by the time I came in. Like when I joined, I think there were only one or two people there who had ever met him.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. He just was.
So wait, you were on season 1, 2, and then
No, just two,
and then 6 and 7.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And you went to Big Mouth in between.
Yeah, I was bouncing. I mean, for the first, I think around the time I was interviewing, but around the time I did your podcast last, I was like another lucky break as I was like ping ponging around. Like the schedules amazingly worked like a puzzle. Like I was able to go from one show to another and then back.
Yeah.
And then, but Big Mouth, I did work on after Rick and Morty.